now 7 p.m. and this meeting will come to order. And I will read the Zoom format. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order, imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Finance Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Members of the public who would like to participate in the meeting via Zoom can do so by clicking this link. Members of the public who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may also do so via telephone by dialing 1-646-558-8656 and enter meeting ID 857-3371-5193. Then press pound and press pound again at the next voice prompt. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by following the steps previously noted, then press *9 on the telephone keypad or use the raise hand function on Zoom. This will notify the meeting host that the caller wishes to speak. In the event that despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide for real-time access, we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as we are able. Okay, so I'd like to take roll call now. Jonathan Dugas.
I'm here.
He's not. Oh, hi, John.
I'm here. Technical difficulties aside.
Mary Ann Gillis.
Here.
Michelle Kincaid. Martinson.
I'm here.
Bernie Nally.
Here.
Kevin Stokes.
Here.
John Doherty is excused, and Teresa Manganelli is present.
Madam Chair, can you just confirm with Andrew that this WCTV has this going as well?
Oh, I thought he said that he had done that. Andrew,
Okay.
it's out on WCTV?
Yes, it's live currently.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, right at 7.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to open up our budget meeting tonight. The first one is with Lou Somalia for the Veteran Services, and his budget is located on page 52. And welcome to you, Lou.
Thank you for having me tonight.
It's our pleasure. So if you want to, I took a look at your budget. Everything seems to be pretty much in line with the previous year, with probably one exception. The assistance to veterans has decreased from 350 to 300,000.
That is correct. As over the past few years, our request for veterans aid has either been level funded or gone down for many reasons. Part of it is which the Chapter 115 cases have gone down. Unfortunately, we have lost a few of them. They're older veterans or widows of veterans, and any of our younger ones that were on have now gotten jobs, and they're doing much better. Also, a part of that is the VA component of our office, where we get them disabilities or pensions or get them more money to live on every month. So two things: they can get off our rolls, and then obviously they're making more money every month, so they're living better.
That's awesome. Does anybody have any questions about the actual budget itself? Not hearing any. I would just like to ask you, Lou, how has the pandemic affected your veterans as far as the isolation part we're all experiencing?
Yeah, that's been a little rough on some of them. We just buried another young veteran a couple weeks ago to suicide. The VA is not doing in-person mental health visits right now, so that's not a good thing. The telehealth doesn't work in a lot of a lot of different ways, like the mental health. But they are offering, phone call mental health visits. But we're still there for them, keeping them in touch with each other, and they can still stop by the office here and there and get their paperwork squared away. But I guess just like every other person, we're all struggling with this.
Okay.
Hmm.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Lou, how many
Can you
people?
identify yourself, Bernie, please?
Yeah, Bernie and Ally.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering how many we've lost in the past year through suicide.
Well, the national number is still 22 a day. And when I say my vets, I mean my young core of vets. We've probably lost 3 that are personally affected to our office.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
And-
no problem. That's a good question. I appreciate you asking that, because I've said every time, when I'm in a public forum, that if you see a veteran of any age, because it's not just the younger vets that are committing suicide, and if you see a veteran that's in crisis, by all means, send them our way.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the Finance Committee? Andrew, do we have any public comments waiting?
We do not.
We do not. Okay. Well, then you have a good night tonight, Lou.
Madam
Oh.
Chair, I just wanted to take a moment, a couple of things. First of all, just to acknowledge the effort of Lou and Mike and Patty in his office. Obviously this year has been difficult for everybody, but to be able to continue with the Memorial Day events, even though we weren't able to do the parade, but still the ceremonies at the cemetery, and then the Veterans Day services at the town common. And of course, we had a new monument this year that a young Eagle Scout put forward. So all of that coordination obviously was a little more difficult this year, but Lou and his office really stepped up. And then just by happenstance, I happened to receive a letter today. If you don't mind, I'd just kind of read it for everybody. That kind of gives an indication of what goes on over in Lou's office. And this is from Carl Skipple, Colonel, U.S. Army, retired. And he writes to me, I'm writing this letter to let I'm writing this letter to tell you about and compliment you on the outstanding service I received when I visited the Wilmington Department of Veterans Services. I called the office on Monday, 11 January, and Patty Meehan made an appointment for me to see Michael Fronten, the Veterans Services officer, in the next afternoon at 2 p.m. When I arrived at, quote, the Little Red Schoolhouse, end quote, on the 12th, Patty greeted me and made me feel right at home. Michael was busy speaking with the director, Lou Smaglia. Mike saw me out of the corner of his eye and politely indicated that he'd be with me momentarily. Within minutes, Michael was free, and he and I spoke for at least an hour. My purpose was to get enrolled in the Veterans Affairs healthcare system so I could get my second COVID vaccination. As we talked, it became clear that Michael had reviewed my military records before I got there, and he knew that I would likely be entitled to use the VA for medical support purposes. He also said that since I had served in Vietnam during the conflict, I might be entitled to other benefits depending upon my physical condition. He reviewed with me my physical ailments and concluded that if I could get the doctor's diagnosis and treatments prescribed, I might be eligible for service-connected disabilities. That was very good news to me. I had no idea on how to move forward, but Michael led me through the steps and did the necessary paperwork. Before the week was over, I had given Michael the doctor's diagnosis and treatments prescribed, and he had submitted the request for services-connected disabilities to Boston. We anticipate hearing from the VA within a week or two. What Wilmington Department of Veterans Services, and particularly Mike Fronten, did for me, in parentheses, put me at ease, provided guidance and advice, and assembled the and submitted the requests for service-connected disabilities, in parentheses, was invaluable. He got the required paperwork done quickly and efficiently. That made me feel proud of my Army service and his. He told me how patriotic the town of Wilmington is and the great support veterans are provided by the Wilmington community. It was clear he is very proud of Wilmington. I'm sure that you have a feeling for how valuable Michael is and what an outstanding job he does. I strongly believe that Michael Fronten is a very special employee of the town and that he deserves special recognition. Thank you. Sincerely, Carl B. Skipple. That just came in today. So when we get these on a regular basis, but that kind of is a snapshot of kind of the service that Lou's office provides.
That's a wonderful letter. Thank you very much for sharing it with us.
Yeah, Jeff, if I may, I appreciate you bringing that up. And of course, everyone knows it's been a trying year, and we were also able to name a street this year. A developer let us name it after George Veloza, Sergeant Veloza's Way. And we did a parade around town for the end of World War II, the 75th anniversary. So we've been trying to keep busy and keep connected with all our vets, older and younger, throughout the year. And yeah, Mike and Patty in our office, they do always go above and beyond. And I appreciate you reading that letter, because honestly, they do all the work and I just get the credit.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
it's a team effort.
Yes, sir.
I think they have a tremendous leader.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Lou? All right, thank you very much, Lou, as always, for your work throughout the year.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lou.
Our next appointment is with Terry Masiello of the Elderly Services, and her budget is on page 56. Hi, Terry.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, good. Starting to see some light here, so it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Oh, good. Is there anything you wanted to point out in your budget to us? It looks like it's pretty level with the previous.
Yeah, actually, everything is pretty much level at this time. Yeah, that really kind of speaks for itself there. For the contractual, miscellaneous contractual, there were some, it's pretty much the same. And it's because of one of the classes that with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, the formula grant that they give us on a yearly basis, and knock on wood, hopefully they'll continue, that part of the exercise programs were able to be covered by that this year, or for next year. So,
So I'm going to ask you the same question I just asked Lou. How has the pandemic and the accompanying isolation affected your elders?
well, it's kind of a loaded question. As you know, just, sitting and watching the TV, the population, older population has been severely affected by the pandemic. Actually, that's their population that's gotten most affected. I usually don't like to start off on a bad note or a sad note, but I think it's something that needs to be recognized and not dismissed. Is that since January of 2020 through December of 2020, 88 elders passed away from my senior center, our program alone. When I say my senior center, those are elders that were very active in our center. We're part of our computer system that we were in. So with people that we were engaged with, people that were active with our programs, whether it be for receiving home delivered meals, whether it be for transportation, or whether it be truly active in the center. We've had people pass away that are very sickened by COVID due to ailments that occurred and the weakness of whether it be their heart or immune system. But then there's another that we need to be aware of. An elder that was extremely active here would come here in the mornings on Monday, like clockwork, and say, I couldn't wait till Monday came because I need to be here. I can't be alone. And this person we could really do a book with, because it was truly showing us that the effect of isolation and the effect of loneliness and the effect of seeing her friends pass and the effect of not having the ongoing will to continue. So these things are happening. God bless her. She did pass away, but she taught a lot of us how important it is to be connected to the people that you talk to and take for granted every day, that we need to stay connected. So let's just step back to March 12th, 2020. It was a Thursday. I clearly remember it. I clearly remember getting that call that I needed to have everyone leave the building. Something that we thought, just for a couple of weeks. 2 weeks go by. I realized, no, this isn't something that's just going to be, just for a few weeks, that we need to act. We need to respond. We need to show people that we're here. And how are we going to do that? Pulled the staff together saying, you know what? We cannot be putting our faces down. We have to put our faces out there. We have to show people that we're responsive and show that we're going to get through this. Never realizing that we'd be doing this for a year, but more. But the support from the community has been fantastic, whether it be Flowers by Dawn or Dovetails, actually, which I think I'll be popping up in a moment. The community pulled in and we made this all possible. That my goal was to be able to show our face once a week to people, whether it be through a telephone call or whether it be on WCTV, or I had to come up with a plan, and I had to come up with a plan quick. So obviously our home delivered meals drivers had to stop delivering because they were also of that age that was crucial, and they could not be with people. So my staff and I decided home delivered meals are of the most importance. And as we see through COVID, food insecurity is on the rise and has been, but more attention is being brought to it, that we needed to continue home delivered meals. So we did the meals, which was the best thing in the world, because we were able to connect and remind people the services that are available, and that what we could do, we could always give notes to home delivered meals people. From there on, if we could all sit back and remember what was the big thing that everybody wanted: toilet paper. So toilet paper got to be the thing, not only for a sense of humor, but also a sense of need. That's when Lucci's and actually Nichols Funeral Home and several others came to us with toilet paper, and we made sure that we made care packages to be sent out on a regular basis. And toilet paper was the very first thing, and it got a great response. People called in and people were very appreciative, and it caused conversation. So then we get through that piece of trying to connect with people on a daily level, but also exercise and things are important. The weather started getting to the point where we decided to do programs outside. That was yoga, Tai Chi, bocce, our art classes. And believe it or not, as I speak, this past, nope, not this week because of the storm. Last Monday, our Tai Chi class has continued to meet every Monday at 9 o'clock in the parking lot. And so that's a 45-minute class. We also have a new program that developed from this. It's our hiking group. Group got together themselves and started to make a hiking group, and now we have that on our Facebook. So those types of things were wonderful. It got people active. Our book club got very active and got going again. Then we started a new thing called Grab and Goes. What's a grab and go? Who would ever think that would be in my language? Grab and go being a food that people could drive up as if they're going to say, we'll base it on Dunkin' Donuts. They come through, they grab a lunch, and they move along. There's a lot of reasons for grab and go, not only for the reason of food, but also for seeing if there was anyone that was having a hard time. You can tell a lot by people's appearance, and you can tell a lot by the people's voice when they're talking to you. So those grab and goes were also like 100 people at a time. We caused a little bit of chaos in town and backup in traffic, but that was fine because people got what they needed. The rumor got around, and I got a call from Winchester Hospital finding out that what's going on over there. Why is there traffic that I've been hearing? And make a long story short, they donated $2,000 to do September is a senior center month, National Senior Center Month. So for every week, we had a grab and go. Again, 100 people, so 400 people were served for a meal, and with the support of AJ's, as good as it gets. Oh goodness, several restaurants, and which again, I'll be popping up at the end to give them acknowledgement. So all these things were going on. Actually, if you could put up on slide 2 for the grab and goes. So this will show you that some of the activity that was, going on as to, like we had a happy dog day. Again, we're trying to do something that would be funny, reminding that we're here, who would be sponsoring the event, and leaving our telephone number for people to call. Again, concerned, everybody was worried about, oh my gosh, I didn't get my taxes done. What are we going to do? Thank goodness the federal government extended taxes. We ran a tax program in June and July. We had 82 people that were able to finish up their taxes with the support of AARP. Nobody was in the building. Everything was done outside, and it was a wonderful, wonderful program. And we got that done. So again, we were trying so hard to keep engaged and keep involved. And I'm very fortunate for my staff. So Kelly, our senior clerk, got us going on Facebook. So Facebook, we were trying to get something going on there once a week, our Twitter account, our website, and again, trying to get our face out there to remind everybody, even though the building is closed for programming inside, that we are here for anything that we were doing before. We had to stop our transportation, but in May we started it up again, and we are continuing. That is only one person can travel in the van at a time, just for restrictions. And again, that piece was possible as working very closely with Shelley Newhouse, who I cannot say enough about. Also, the two chiefs, police chief and fire chief, have been very, very helpful in making things happen for us. And also being very helpful in communicating with us, people in need inside the community, because they see it firsthand. They're right there, and they've given us call on quite a few occasions. So it's been they've been very, very supportive. So with the home delivered meals, I just wanted to let you know, getting back to that for a moment, this year we were still able to continue to do the meals, and 16,341 meals went out this year for 2020. And obviously continuing, our numbers have gone up to 75 meals a day, Monday through Friday. And I do foresee that going up even higher. I was concerned about the need of nutrition. People tend to be doing not the healthiest of food at times, and I think produce is a big concern. So I did go for a grant that actually will cover this year that we're in currently through June. But I'm hoping to make such an impact on this that the people that we work with will continue. I got this grant from Winchester Hospital. It's to be able to give produce to our home delivered meals people, but also people that for our homebound that really need produce. People need fresh food and need a resource for that. So that's just trying to give you a quick synopsis as to a bit that's been going on. The exciting thing is that my staff, who is Laura Pickett, and Ms. Kelly Fordham, Lisa, God bless Lisa, I just blanked out on your last name. Forgive me, I'll pop back in, she'll probably, and Sonia, Carlson, which is in Carlson Halliday. She, at this time, they all are a solid team. And you know what? Each of us are doing each other's job. It's not just, you know, you have to be able to step up at any time and jump in any job. And these, all of them deserve so much credit because without them, this department would have been possible. And I'm extremely appreciative. But all of us right now, every single one of us is extremely excited. And the fact that there's a light at the end of this tunnel, we're hoping, and that's called the vaccine. Very stressful time, very, very stressful time trying to, you know, we're working alongside with the Board of Health again. If it wasn't for Shelley Newhouse being on game as to vaccines coming in and where to go and how to direct people. And so, as you know, through the state of Massachusetts, they found that the Council on Aging's, which in the other parts of the state, that's what we're called, but we like to call ourselves here Department of Elderly Services, are the focal point to go for people to call their Department of Elderly Services to try to help them get a vaccine. Why is that? Well, right now, even though the biggest population that's being affected by COVID are the older population and not everybody as savvy, we're not all the savviest, but on our computers, people need assistance in being able to register for the vaccine. A point that I'm not too excited about, that need really a little more attention, but that's for debate for another day. But right now, what they do is they are calling us to help them get registered. Got to know that map pretty well as to where to go, and Doubletree tends to be the better one if you want to try to get in Danvers because they renew it all the time. But we're helping people sign up and getting them registered. And I'm very happy to say it started. We're going with this. We're helping people. We're making sure that people get that second appointment, reminding them. And there's a lot of calls that are coming in that people are getting upset. How come this person's getting and I'm not getting it? And it's very difficult. You know, for example, the Deming Way, our senior housing, you would think that would be a #1 priority for the state, senior housing. And right now it's not one of the locations that had gotten a lot of attention. So trying to work with Emily at the senior housing as to making sure that people at Deming Way are getting the attention that they need. And I have to say we're working pretty well with that. That's going very well. So again, I know I tend to talk very fast. This is pretty much as to what's going on. I see that the budget, you'll see that the budget's pretty leveled. And you may see that when you look at for next year's budget, you know, Terry, why you were allotted, say, for example, 19,125. Well, let's say like last year's, you see the 12,222 for home delivered meals, how that went down. The money amount went down. Well, the reason for that is called in kind. And that was because the staff was actually the ones delivering the meal. So there wasn't that mileage and there wasn't the $26 a day. And so you might see a little bit of that as the beginning of next year, just because we don't, for this budget coming year, we just don't know how, we're hoping the vaccine takes care of everything, but obviously we don't know. So you can see some numbers might be a little bit different, but those are the reasons for it. But I'm very, very positive. I'm very happy. And in the midst of it all, I couldn't thank you enough, the community, for we're starting the process now for a new senior center. And believe it or not, people are emailing me with ideas as to make sure, you know, if you have meetings, can you make sure you include this? Which I really find wonderful that people are thinking of these things besides thinking of that news that's on each and every day that can kind of bring us down. So if you could put on slide #1, please. And so these are the businesses that have been extremely positive to us. supported us in so many fashions. As you can see, the police department, fire department, WCTV, As Good as It Gets, Lucci's, these are all have been wonderful. You also see an orange bucket. That was our communication bucket. That's how we got our, people made cards. We had a happiness card campaign. So those are just the people that we're supporting. And then if we could go to slide 3. This group of pictures showing also student interaction. Students really took upon themselves to be active with us. We had someone that did their Eagle Scout program, and what they did, they made bags that included everything but the honest to God, but the kitchen sink. He even made his own. They even made 100 masks himself. This gentleman, his Matt Desario. We had Kate Hayes, who made ornaments to make sure that they went into the home delivered meals. We had another woman, Jessica, who also made ornaments. We had the best day was one of the days we had a second grader come in with wreaths that wanted to make sure that he put a smile on everybody's face, and he donated 5 wreaths. We also had the first and second graders make cards for us to make sure that we can send them out for the month of December. And then we also had Tyler Fenton, who made, he wanted to do something for the Deming Way, and he made cozy socks for us to deliver. You know, that was just the month of December. And we were so fortunate that we are living in a wonderful community that supports the elders in the community. And I'm very proud to say that we are from Wilmington, because I have to tell you, I'm also on Zoom calls throughout 16 towns, and not all towns are supportive in so many ways, as in the selectmen and town departments and the town manager and yourselves. And also the Board of Health. We have a unique Board of Health. So without all this teamwork, all this would not have been possible. I know we're mainly about budget and we're level funding, but also, you know what? If we didn't have a good supportive team, the budget could be more. And I could be asking for more services, and I could be asking for the need for more programming money. But because of our support, we're okay. We can do it, and we can be level funded because it's all working out. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions.
Well, Terry, I'd just like to say that every year you outdo yourself. And, and this year is no different. That's very impressive with the new programs that you have, the amount of meals that you're distributing. And I especially want to thank you for your reaching out for grant opportunities and searching them out and bringing them into the town of Wilmington to help the elderly services. And you answered my question as to whether or not you were getting any feedback from the elders as far as the senior center. So I'm happy to hear that they are reaching out to you, because I'm sure that they have many, many good ideas and comments would like to see included. So does anybody have any questions for Terry?
Hi, this is, I'm sorry.
Please identify
Marianne
yourself
Glasgow.
first. Thank you.
With the bad weather now, any kind of planning for maybe some smaller classes indoors?
So you know what, Marianne, I wish I really could say yes, but I say no. Again, the population that we're with and the concern that we have, I have to be very careful. I mean, I do foresee, again, talking to the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, their hope is after the vaccine to get a better feel to see if the numbers go down. But I'm just very nervous to say, oh, yes, you know, in May, I see us opening. It's very difficult for me to say at this time due to maintaining the safety of everyone. I do see, though, you know, us being able to, you know, we have Zoom classes. I do things on WCTV. We're doing trivia. We're getting more involved in trivia. Kelly is, thank God I have Kelly. She can do the Zoom. But as an inside, no. At this time, I have to say I don't foresee.
Kevin?
Hi, Kevin Stokes. First, Terry, excellent presentation. And, I feel like you're probably a pretty big reason why you get so much support. The way you organize all the activities and certainly promote all the activities. I think you generate a lot of interest. So kudos to you and your staff. I think you do a wonderful job. I think you just sort of answered the question, but I'll ask it again. I was just curious, given some of the resourcefulness that you demonstrated over the last year, what does the new normal sort of look like as we kind of progress out of this? Is there, a new middle ground of on-site and off-site activities that you might be able to leverage? And does it create other opportunities given that you had to kind of innovate a little bit over the past year?
Yes, thank you for that question. Yes, I do see, how many times have we heard the word pivot? So we've constantly had to pivot, and I do see that people are being more, actually we're having our participants coming up with some great ideas. And we are, every service we are continuing except the services indoors. So as to, if you're also asking again, like Marianne was doing about being creative of having things indoors, I really can't say, a good example is taxes, the tax program that we're going to be running in February and March and April. I didn't back down. I wanted to keep that tax pro because everyone needs it. And everyone's like, we can't because you have to be inside. Well, so what we're doing is having people come to the parking lot, having the person from AARP pick up their information, get their cell number or their home number. The person goes back home, we talk to them from home, and then they come back and pick everything up. So those are the types of things that are innovative, that trying to keep things the same. I think it's so crucial that we try to keep things as same as possible, as routine as possible, with a little curve, so that people feel that they could be seen and heard. But I can't really you know what? We will see, because give me 2 days. My staff kind of cringes every time. I'm like, I got to have another idea. They're like, so, I could come up with another idea.
Madam Chair, just one point on, in terms of the COVID factor, if you will. One of the preliminary discussions that has taken place during the interviews with prospective OPMs during that process, the folks in the field, so to speak, are looking at the design of senior centers and recognizing that new senior centers post-COVID are going to be modified to some measure to account for this kind of a situation, both in terms of the kind of internal functioning, so to speak, and air circulation, everything else, but I think other elements of activities and so on to be able to adapt to these kind of circumstances in the future. So I think that's one of the things that we'll see coming out of this from a facilities standpoint.
And thank you so much for saying that. And I think that kind of answers Mary Ann's question, as in the reason we can't have people inside our building is because the amount of space, so many people and so many square feet type thing. And the amount of space that we have here, that's what makes it so difficult. And at a new senior center and the ventilation and this type of thing, I think those are all things because of COVID, that when we sit down at the table, there's more concrete questions that we can ask and make sure that we're prepared for the future, that I might not be there for that time or things in the future of this happening again, but we truly have to be prepared, because this is not the only, sorry to be so negative, but not the only pandemic. We need to be more aware of what's going to be happening in the future and preparing it in so many different ways.
I think an important piece of that is the addition of outdoor space and flexible outdoor space, so that you can continue at least 9 months out of the year doing something outside, as you have done with the things that you mentioned earlier.
And that actually leads into
outdoor space that you have.
Well, Well, that leads into another, as I shared, quite a few people have passed, and very sad. But some of these people donated money to the department, and in speaking with their families, the key thing that we're trying to pull together is an outdoor structure to make sure that we can have more functions outside, whether it rain, wind, or that we have a function outside, most definitely when the nicer months. So yes, outdoors is extremely important to have.
Terry, Marian Galezo, what do you feel throughout the senior population, even after getting the vaccinations? Do you feel they'll be more afraid to come to the center due to, the pandemic and what they've gone through?
Well, we have, I think there's like 3 categories. One category, my God, they would have been here yesterday, vaccine or no. As you saw at the bottom of the hill, that people were congregating outside,
Right.
that the Swain, how important was that? Not a perfect study that could have been done, the importance of being with your friends and your peers. They would sit out there when it was so hot, or 95 degrees. Okay, so you have those people that they're gonna be with their friends no matter what. Then you have the other people that are a little nervous, but once they start seeing people be active, just as in the things that we're seeing, some people are afraid to have the vaccine, but once they see people having it, they'll start taking it. I think people will they'll be apprehensive, but they'll come in. And then there'll be that group of people that this has had a devastating effect on, and they're just really nervous. They're just really, really afraid to come because the fear of getting sick. And also the other piece is the fear of coming in and not, I told you 88 people. Who are the people that passed? So there's also that first initial piece of coming in of everyone kind of being on, how is everyone doing and who's here?
Right.
So I think there's 3 different categories of people coming into the senior center. But you know what? The most important thing is that we just keep showing, take your time. It's all up to you. There's no pressure. We're all in this together, and we'll help out in any way and making it comfortable for you.
Thank you. And great job you're doing. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any other comments?
Yeah, this is Bernie. Just for a quick compliments to Terry. She's done a great job, and she's done a great job despite all the problems for the past year, and I look forward to more from her. That's all.
Okay. Well, Terry, our condolences to you and your staff on the passing of the 88 people. That must have been devastating and will continue to be devastating as your group returns. So that's sad. Are there any questions from the public?
There are no questions.
No questions? Okay.
Madam Chair, I would like to just offer, I guess while I did this with Lou's office, I want to do the same with Terry's. Again, this was probably a month and a half or so ago. I received a call from a woman out of state. I think she might have lived down in the New York area, I can't recall. But she specifically called me she wanted to make sure that somebody from town knew about a particular situation that occurred, and I believe it was her elder father who lives up here in Wilmington, and she's it's been challenging for her to kind of keep an eye on him and make sure he's getting the care he needs. And so she had called the senior center This was, I think, back when we had that early storm, was it October, November, whenever it was. So she spoke with Laura Pickett and wanted to find out, are there plow companies in the area, or are there people who can remove snow, she was prepared to pay this, whoever that she could find, to get her father, keep the driveway and so on cleared. And so Laura was not able to offer her any particular vendor, so to speak, or person, but instead she literally went out to this elder's home and personally shoveled them out. And the woman that I spoke with was just, she couldn't believe that that kind of service would exist, and it was just incredibly complimentary. And that's just one example. I mean, I don't hear obviously about all of them, but I think it speaks volumes about the atmosphere and the inspiration that Terry creates, and it's infectious because all of our staff seem to have that positive can-do attitude, and that's just really, I think we're pretty blessed.
You certainly are. Thank you for sharing that, Jeff. Are there any other questions for our wonderful Director of Elderly Services?
Mary Ann Galezo, Terry, one quick question.
Yeah.
With all the snow coming now, is there any kind of help for the seniors with the shoveling? Of the high school kids still doing it? I know they don't have to have any contact, so.
Yeah, I have to say this year has been really difficult in getting that going and getting that. Actually, I have to say for shoveling right now, I really don't have a group to get that going. But I do have to say we are doing a special program with the high school students with Lisa Desberg, English teacher. We're doing a Zoom. We're going to be part of their classes for Zoom. The seniors of Wilmington, as in senior citizens, are going to share how they're dealing with the COVID pandemic, and the kids how they're dealing with the COVID pandemic, and start a conversation. I know that wasn't your question, but you reminded me about the kids piece. But when it comes to shoveling, I'm so sorry. That's been very difficult. So no, at this time I don't.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Terry. It's great to see you again, and thank you for all the wonderful work you do.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so normally we would be looking at minutes right now, but there's been a little bit of a delay, so we'll wait. I know some of you received minutes today, but they're out of order, and I'd prefer to just wait until our next meeting and take them in order. So does anybody have any questions for the Finance Committee in general?
Mary Ann Galezo, I have one for Jeff real quick. Jeff, I know last year we talked about grant writer. I'm wondering if, I know this has been a tough year, but have you looked into that at all?
We have not looked at a grant writer. I think, it's, as you've seen from some of the departments, there is a fair amount of grant writing going on. It's certainly decentralized, but whether it's applications that Terry has done or a number of departments have done, we just received a grant. The Economic Development Committee, fairly new group, has put in for a grant, and they've received, it's not funds, it'll be a consultant, but there are a number of efforts going on, department by department, but no, we've not looked at, specifically hiring a grant writer.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No? All right. In that case, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Mary Ann Galezo, motion to adjourn.
We have a
John
second?
Dugas, second.
Okay, and I'll just do a roll call, see who, for approval. Lee,
Approved.
Bernie,
Yes,
Kevin,
Yes.
Michelle is out, all right, and Manganelli approves. All right, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
We'll see everybody next Tuesday night.
Here on
Night.
Tuesday.
Night.
night.
Good night.